Let's now look at detailing our house. We have end of video 02 here. I'm going to click on that. And this is what we have. So let's begin by adding some windows to the long side walls. I'm going to make sure that we're in a face select mode. Select this particular face and oh, look at the widget here. Because we're still in move, we've still got this selected. That indicates that we're still in roof 02. I'm going to use the drop down menu, just go back to global. Because this wall is currently oriented along the global axes. That may change in the future. I may rotate this house on its foundation, but for right now it's aligned with the global axes. Next, I can either use this Inset Faces tool here, or I can just hit I. And when I hit I, you'll notice that as I move the mouse, the face is inset, and 4 new quad faces are created around it. I'm going to hit Escape, and do the same thing with the cursor over the face. And now you can see I've got slightly less control. If I do it a third time with the cursor very close to the center of the tripod, I don't have much control. I hit the center of the face and then it starts expanding again. So the starting position of the cursor is quite important. Make sure it's a reasonable distance away, hit I, pull it in, and that looks good. Right. I don't need to worry about this. I'm going to click on the head of this arrow to move it along that axis there and move it down, and then I'm going to hit the 2 key, select this edge, move it along. Right, so that's our window. Let's hit 3, select the window, maybe move it up a little bit and scale it out. Now extrude it. E. Extrude it by default along the local, the face's Z-axis. It's normal. I. Pull it in, and I can actually enter a value or just eyeball it as I'm doing here, and then E again, pull it back. About the same value, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less, whatever you think. You can always adjust it later and click. So now we've got a frame around a window. Very good. Let's do the same thing on the other side. Select the face, hit I, too close to the middle. I'm going to hit Escape, move the cursor out, hit I again. That's good. I'm going to hit 2, select one of the edges, move it in the plane of the wall a little bit to the left, hit 3 again to go back to face select mode, E, I, E. Okay, now we've got another window with a little frame around it, all of which is editable. Supposing I now want to move this in the Y direction along the wall, I'm going to have to select not just the window, but the frame surrounding it. And the way to expand a selection is to hold down Control and hit the plus key, not above the letter keys, but on the number pad. 1, 2, 3. And now I can move the whole thing over here. If I want to reduce the selection, hold down Control, and again on the keypad, not above the letter keys, 1, 2, 3. Now I've just got the original window selected. Click off the house to deselect. Let's put in a little door. Select here. Make sure the cursor's a reasonable distance away. I. Now we can see a problem already. That's fine. I'm going to hit or click on the top of the arrow here to move it down, not moving it down too far, because that'll give us faces that are actually overlapping. And you can see, I hope, there's a little bit of a strange animated pattern going on with the bottom half of the door that is overlapping the base of the house. So you want to make it a positive distance above the base there. And now I want to hit 2, select the top, and we need to make it level. Suppose I just hit R and I rotate it in the plane of the face. Well, you can see, A, it's going to be tough to get it exactly accurate and level, and B, that by rotating it, I've actually made it wider in its X direction. So the sides of the door are no longer parallel. So that's not going to work. Hit escape. The way to do this is to hit S for scale, Z for the Z axis, 0, enter. And now it's completely level. It's been completely flattened out along the Z axis. So I can now select it, move it down, hit 3 for face extrude, E, I, E, and that's good. Sometimes the dialog box covers up the relevant part of the model, so you may want to change your viewpoint before you start. We've got a house with a step and a surround, couple of windows. Let's make a chimney. We're at about 7 minutes or so now. Let's make a chimney. So I'm going to select this roof plane, and again I'm going to hit I. Pull it in. I'll hit SY to scale it along the local y-axis, move it along the local y-axis, and I want to move it up the plane here. I'm not going to be able to do this by moving it along the X or the Z. I need a combination, and that combination is going to be roof 2. Now we just move it up like that. Let's extrude our chimney. E. Doesn't look like any chimney I'd want to live under, to be honest, but let's do it and just click and look at orientation. By default, normal. We want it to be global. Bada boom. Now we've got a nice vertical chimney. The top isn't level, but we know how to deal with that already. We just go back to globe. We select that face, and we hit S for scale, Z for the Z axis, 0, enter. And now we got a nice flat top to our chimney. And if we want, we can hit I and E and whatever else needs to be done. So there is some detail on our little house. I think that's enough for this particular video. We'll next move on to adding some colors on particular faces of this object.